Welcome back to another video. This is Back to Life's podcast. Today we have a guest. His name is Will the Barber, Will the Thrill. I want to introduce him. Thank you for taking time out of your day to come and let's talk about, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, Eric, I think the most important thing, for as barbers and in general people is financial education.
Yep. That's huge. We make all this money, right? Which is something like this right here, right? This is what I'm used to making. $10 bill, This is what I know money is. Is that what you feel like money is?
At one point I thought that that's what money was, And I think as barbers, we see a lot of clients in here coming and we hear their stories, right? Their struggles, their ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I think as barbers or stylists in general, we get to interact with people and get to know their lives. And, we know the ups and downs. So for me, I take it personal because it's like we're all struggling.
Exactly.
And we all want to survive.
Right.
But the majority of us are not financially educated.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's one of the most, problem that we all have.
And it's something so almost taboo to talk about, right? People are taught not to talk about money, kind of keep it a secret.
Right. No,
but it's part of our everyday lives, right? As soon as you leave the house, you're thinking about either making money or spending money, right?
Well, yeah, and I think we all work for that. It's a necessity, right?
Yeah.
To be able to eat, to provide for our family and so forth.
Right. So the average person works for this.
Right.
This is in a form of a check or whatever. So my thing is, now that as barbers, right, charge $45, $50, boom, they give us this money. Now what do we do with it?
Exactly.
How do we use our money to either grow it or we're using it as a liability?
And I think it starts with when we want to find out something, we got to educate yourself. But since we're talking about money, the question should be, we all should ask is, what is money?
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people think that that's money.
Right.
But also in history, money's been cows, chickens, some sign of trade, a trade, right?
Yeah.
So it has evolved through the years and centuries. So, but the main key is, what is money? And what makes it, give it that definition or makes that thing money?
Right. And I think it's good to say, like, what is it backed up by, right? This is paper.
Exactly.
What's backed up by this, right?
Exactly. And to go with that, what is back, and that's there's three components, three functions that in order for something to be called money has to have something that's back it up.
Yeah.
Or what gives it that value, right? So in order for the rule of law is, in order for something to have value, right? In this instance, money, it must have three things. One of them, it's a medium of exchange. Do you understand what medium of exchange means?
I could take a guess.
Okay.
The meaning of exchange is, in barber terms, would be a service for a service.
You got that right.
Service for a service,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So you're providing a service. In exchange, they're going to give you something, right? Which is
what I know is this, right?
Exactly. So the second thing is unit of account or divisibility, meaning you give me that $20, I could break that into 4 5s equals 20, 2 10s, right, equals 20, or pennies, quarters, dimes, right?
Right.
So that's called divisibility, or something that you could break down into fragments.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because if you were to take gold and silver, for example, well, I'm not going to carry a 100-ounce bar.
Yeah.
Or a 100-ounce bar, and hey, you get to break it down, right? We're going to go back and chop it up into pieces.
Yeah.
No. So that's just a way to not replace it, right? But it's just a way of, what's that called? An alternative.
Right.
Right? So, but the last thing more important for something to be called money, a store of value. Can you take a guess what that means?
A store of value. It's interesting. A store of value.
Yeah.
What do you think something is worth?
Yeah. So what is the word stored? Like you're going to store something.
Store as in like, I would think like a storage unit or something?
Yeah. So
a safe, I don't know.
there you go. Okay, something, right? and the value of something,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to keep something value stored.
Right.
So that main, I guess what would say that word, that last one, store of value, is very important because we all know that inflation and our value of money depreciates.
Right.
So back to your question, Eric, that $20 bill that we all work for, why is it losing value?
Well, my only guess could be inflation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that I've been kind of learning is this isn't even backed up by a lot of things anymore. That
And-
used to be backed up by.
No, you're right. 1971, Nixon took it off. But before we jump on there, let's rephrase that term word money, that $20 bill. Actually, we shouldn't even be calling it money. What do you think we should be calling it?
Like a currency or something, or
There you go. That's the word called currency.
right?
Fiat currency.
Fiat currency. What does that mean?
So fiat currency, fiat, the word fiat comes from Latin word, let it be done.
Let it be done.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that came from the government where they places, hey, fiat, let it be done. Currency is from a Latin word called correndo, right? Running,
Right.
Like a stream of river, right?
Okay.
Is running. Currency. So currency is just like a current.
It's always moving.
It's always moving,
Right.
right? In the
And
financial
this is
industry.
always, today it'll be in my hands, tomorrow it'll be in yours, and it'll be in the
Exactly.
liquor store's guy's hands, and then it just boom, gas station, and it's just moving all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and also, what does the word say? It says note, right? You've seen it.
Yeah.
Look at it. It says note.
Yep.
So it's not money. It's
It does,
paper
although-
currency.
Nope. Yeah. Paper currency.
So, like you said about, what can we take with our money, right? It's called currency.
Yep.
And what can we do with it to make our life a little bit easier as a tool? Because money is a tool,
Yeah.
right? We all work for it, but it's what we do for it. Like you said earlier, it's what we do with it.
That's the $1 million secret
Yeah.
that we want to learn.
So money is a tool. And there's many ways that you could use money as a tool. Investing, right?
Yep.
For once, right? And in what ways? You could open a business, right? You could invest in stocks, right? But at the same time, when you invest, what are you getting paid with?
It's a good question. What are
So when you take a business, right? You're getting paid still in currency,
in currency, right?
still. But we know that it depreciates.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It loses value. So how can you hold? Remember we talked about the 3 factors
Yes, sir.
of money, and what was the last one important in order for something to be called money? What was the last factor?
Was the value?
Store of value.
Store of value.
So we see that we can make all this money, and as barbers we can make this money. And I hear barbers always, hey, this how can you go make money? Do this and do that, but they're not educating themselves about what is money.
Right.
You see. And we're talking about how can we use money as a tool.
And a lot of the times we're only talking about the note, how to make more notes.
Exactly.
But for what, right?
Exactly. And at the end, let's take for example, Venezuela,
Yep.
right? I think you were here one time where we were cutting hair, and there was this new guy who walked in. We had a walk-in. He was from Venezuela, and I saw, on Instagram, TikTok, and videos about Venezuela what happened to their currency, right? So I asked him, hey, is it true that the currency lost its value overnight? And he said, yeah. He said that he had in his bank about $1,000. The next day, it was worth 0. Gone.
A note.
Paper note gone. So we could all save it under our couches or save it in the bank, whatever, but it's depreciating.
So it's truly just a note.
Yeah, it's just a piece of paper.
Not until it becomes, right,
Exactly.
an asset, right?
Exactly. So our job is to understand money and use it as a tool. Now, you could invest in real estate, right? As we were talking about as a tool, invest in
Yeah.
real estate, stocks, and so forth. But that's all great, and you're going to be able to, make more money, currency.
Yep.
But at the same time, you're still losing value.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing here where I work in my primes my 20s and 30s just hit it hard, right? 15, 17 hours, just to work.
Every day. Boom, boom, boom.
And that's our prime. And then right now, you're still young.
Yeah.
What 25, you're going to be 26, right?
Yes, sir.
So I wish someone, Eric, at my time, someone educated me
Yep.
or just talked to me about it. And that's why I always, since I met you, always talk to you, hey, Erik, financial, what's your future?
Yeah.
You know, what's your goals? You know? So I was just tired of working. And then I went through a divorce and I lost everything. Start back from zero. And I look back 10 years of my life. What do I have to show for? I worked for that. And what do I have to show for? So that's when, and then COVID hit, and then that's when I started to do the research.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't want to keep getting up in the morning, 9 to 5 job. I'm tired of work for somebody else.
Yep.
I want to enjoy my life. I want to travel. I want to spend time with my family. And I think all of us want to do that.
Right. That's something that we want to do.
Family is the most important thing, right, in this world. And as humans, we have to be in an environment where we're always around people.
Right.
You know, the socialize.
And a lot of the times it's freedom too, right?
There you go. It's freedom.
Freedom. I think that's the real life's kind of goal. Because, I mean, we could work 10, 15 hours every single day, but time's running out
There you go.
by the day.
And I didn't look at it like that, Erik, when I was growing up. How much time is so valuable. That's the one thing that you cannot get back. You can make currency, you can make money,
Yeah.
but your family, I think that's the most important thing, you know, in this world, is spending time with them and appreciating value. So, you know, when you guys or people fight and arguing over dumb things, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
You know, life is too short, and that's what I realized after. So in COVID, I decided to do the research. I'm like, how come certain people are wealthy and they get to enjoy their life? What is it that they're doing that I'm not? I'm getting up every morning. I'm going to work. So I realized is they understand what money is.
Yeah.
They understand the value of time.
And they understand how to invest it, right? That's
Exactly.
most important. Because learning how to make money is one thing, right? Currency.
Yeah.
You could make $100,000
Yep.
and still be broke, right?
Yes. No, you're right. You know, and especially with inflation, it's just gonna corrode, or it's gonna vanish all that value of it, you know. So Erik, so I started to, you know, start this journey, educating myself, and I was in barber school, and there was this guy who introduced me about real estate, and his dad bought properties here, like in Prunedale and all that stuff. He goes, oh yeah, my dad, you know, bought this property and buys it, and he's making money. He goes, have you ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Rich Dad Poor, yep.
And I'm like, no, I never read it. He goes, here's a great way to start. So
that right there will.
yeah, that's what opened in my
That will
mind.
spark your.
That's it. That's what sparked it. Even though I already had these questions, I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So my advice is always like, hey, start with that book. It's a great book. It's a simple book.
Yep.
And that's when it opened my mind, and I'm like, okay, now I went on to this journey. Erik, I was educating myself 2 hours a day. So I would drive to barber school, an hour there, nothing but education.
With
An
a
hour,
podcast, watching a YouTube video, reading a book, whatever it was, right?
And so 2 hours a day. So what? That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hours a week. Times 4 weeks. That's 40 hours.
Right.
It was like a full-time job, you know,
Yeah.
or part-time in other words.
Yeah.
But I
So
would
you were so what you're saying is you don't need to be in a college campus or in high school in a classroom in order to educate yourself, right?
No,
This
Erik,
could be on the way to work.
exactly. And we're so fortunate, especially your generation, because you guys have everything, you know,
It's
at the
almost
palm
at
of your hand.
at a Google search. It could be, you know, books or nowadays they're on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You can hear the audiobooks, a lot of them
A lot of them, you
for
know.
free, right? This is free information.
Exactly. You see? So there you go. You said it. Free information. So how many people see the value in that? You see, when it's just right there.
What if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you kind of saw that transition where the rich dad told them, all right, I can give you guys a raise, or you can come work for me for free, but that's going to be so much more value than me paying you $1 an hour, $2 an hour. But the poor mentality is, no, I'm going to trade my time for money, right? But the rich don't work for money. Money works for them.
Exactly.
And that's the most important thing that we want to unlock Right.
Yeah, and I think you hit a great point on, that instead of us trading our time for money, trading our money for time.
Exactly.
And that's what and I think
Because we want freedom, right? That's where
Exactly.
freedom comes into play.
And Eric, and freedom. But you know what it starts with? With the goal.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a goal first. It's just like a map. You have a destination, right? You look at the map, but all roads lead to that,
Yeah.
right? To that destination. There's many roads. Some have dead ends. Some have a longer way. Some have a shorter distance.
Mm-hmm.
So those roads are like decisions that we have to make. But we have to start with the goal. And like you said, once we understand the goal, now we can take that goal, whatever it is, financial freedom, right? Like you said, to be able to enjoy our lives.
Mm-hmm.
If that is, then what are the steps you need to take
Exactly.
to accomplish that?
Yeah.
So after this journey, I just started educating myself. And the video that opened my eyes was Mike Maloney. It's called, I think I sent that video to you one time too. It's called Hidden Secrets of Money.
Hidden Secrets of Money. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 10 series, 30-minute episode. Man, he opened my eyes on that. He went through a history of what gold and silver and how the monetary system works, how the financial system works, how the debt, oh man, right there it just opened my eyes.
Yeah.
So then that's why I decided to go into gold and silver.
Okay.
And that's why I'm so passionate about gold and silver. Why? Because gold and silver has been money for all history.
Yeah. You go back on the graph of what gold and silver is worth, and it's always going this way.
Yeah, always does.
Right? Not like the U.S. currency where it was once here and it's going this way.
Yeah, and you hit a good point. So we could have like the client that came in walking from Venezuela had $1,000, and then next thing you know, zero. And
Right.
and so I started studying history of gold and silver and currency.
Mm-hmm.
I went on this journey. I'm still learning. It's always time to learn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now I have this education. Once I'm able to make profits, now what do I do with it?
Right.
So I'm still educating myself, and I have some stuff, and it's pretty basic. It's not too complicated, but the wealthy, the way they do it, they don't work like Jeff Bezos, right? Mark Zuckerberg, right? Elon Musk. They have a system where they don't get paid. They're not getting paid hourly.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting
That's something that we've been kind of like, I want to say, trained from a early beginning to get paid hourly. Make $15 an hour, $20 an hour. But why are we trained to think this way, right? To trade our time for money all the time. It's interesting.
and it starts from the school system.
Right.
That's where it starts. To go get a degree, go get a college, go get a so forth, and then you become a doctor, but you're paying the highest tax.
Yeah.
And tax is the one thing that kills everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is taxes for? To pay the debt.
Exactly.
The government's, I think, $37 trillion in debt. They said that it's going to take about 6,000 years just to pay that off.
Ooh.
And we're just paying.
So it's only getting worse.
Yeah. So the printing machines are coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. So once I started going back to the video, I just started educating myself, and then finally I understood what money was. So, and you know what, Eric? I've been saying this for the past 6 years now, that actually there's already laws being written and legislations passing.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? Texas, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
starting next year, they're going to take gold and silver as legal tender. We're going back. So back to real store of value, real money,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we get distracted with so many things, on
Exactly.
our phone, TikTok, watching cat videos, how they say,
Yeah,
or other stuff that is not
exactly.
important,
Yeah.
And not only that, right now they're penning Utah, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arizona, Carolina, West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and Missouri. All these right now are pending. And I believe, based on the research I've done, that next July is when, 4th of July, I think Trump's going to do something with that gold. We're going back to that gold, not a standard or back, but something with that,
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to get at is like, it's coming. It's coming.
And how can we prepare better for that, right?
Exactly.
So that we're not left in the lower class, right? Or because it's only going to get harder to get to that higher status, right?
No, yeah. You know, and
If you don't prepare yourself right now.
because what's going to happen, the middle class is getting wiped, right? So you're going to become poor or rich. That's it. And that's other countries are poor or rich, right? So what can we do now to prepare ourselves to not? It's not that, you know, we're chasing money. It's just understanding what money is.
Yeah.
You know, and what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like an insurance, right? When you drive a car, yeah, we have to pay insurance. Like, well, I'm not going to get into an accident, but it's not you. It's the person that's driving the other car.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just trying to protect yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to think about, like, your investment is like a protection, you
Yeah.
know, for when things
Yeah,
come, you know, you're prepared for that.
exactly.
You know, because it's like, you know, fiat currency, they said it's like a guy jumping off an airplane with, you know, without a parachute. You know, it's not going to look pretty.
If this is all you have,
It is all you have.
right?
Exactly.
Because like how you're saying in Venezuela, one day,
Good.
boom, right? You have 100,000 saved because you think that's what, you know, saving money, right?
Right.
And one day it could be worthless.
Yeah. You know, one day another.
In a perfect world, yes, save all the money in the world, but that's not the world that we're living in.
No. And you know what? That remind me in the video with Mike Maloney hitting Secrets of Money, there was a 1970, 1980, the 10-year gap, right? They said if you were to have $1, right? Let me see, take out $1. So if you were to have $1, right? And they said, if you were to bet, let's say gold, silver, stocks, and real estate, right? Are horses, like in a horse race, right? You see the horse, you bet your money, right? On whatever horse is gonna win. So if there were to be all in line, 4 of them, 4 horses, each one representing gold, silver, stocks, and real estate.
Yep.
Right? So if you were to have $1, if you were to bet on real estate, the profit for real estate, I believe it was, let me see my notes. Yeah, it was $2.29. So you
So
will
you're gonna
make,
double your money.
yeah, so you double your money, 2.29 cents. And if you were to invest in the stock market, your return was 44 cents.
Okay.
So you know, so if you're in a stock market, if you bet $1, you would get 44 cents. You made every
Okay.
dollar, you made 44 cents.
Okay.
So real estate was good, you know, and the stock market was, you know, 44 cents somewhat.
Yeah.
But here it is, dude. Gold was at it was at 34.75 back then, right between 1970 and 1980.
Yeah.
$34.75. Before 1980, it went up to 873 per ounce.
Holy moly.
873, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, man, it was so $1. So out of every dollar you bet it, you were making $25.
Holy
It
moly.
beat real estate
Yep.
and it beat stocks.
Buy a gold mine, right?
$25. So you would put $1, you got $25 back
Yep.
if you were to invest in gold.
Yeah.
Okay. Now check this out. Silver was at $1.27 back then. Okay. Silver went up 52.50.
Holy moly.
It passed gold. It
Yeah.
passed all of them. So $1, you made $51 of profit.
So we're going back to gold and silver.
So history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
Yep.
But back then, here's what the interesting was. Why I'm so fanatic in silver and gold, because gold and silver has an industrial, like, okay, let's take an example. Phones, right? Computers, right? Electric cars, solar panels. It is an industrial metal that is used, right? Now, back in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't used as much. It was used, but now we're living in a new digital era,
Yeah.
right? Technology.
So you need silver.
You need silver and gold, but more silver. Silver is the only sleeping giant that has dual purpose. as money, right? And as industrial. And with AI coming, and we're going to a green energy, right? That's what they're trying to do, green energy.
Yeah.
Even more silver.
Batteries.
Exactly. So guess
Right.
what? And there's not much silver coming out of the ground.
Ooh.
So we're coming to a shortage.
So the people with silver
Are going to be very wealthy.
is going to be very
So
wealthy.
a lot of people have
Exactly.
saved silver through all these years, and like, oh, it doesn't move. It's been down here, but you got to understand how the markets work. They're manipulated.
Yeah.
J.P. Morgan got caught, spoofing, meaning he was manipulating the market.
Yeah.
I don't know how many millions of billions he got charged, but that was chump change to him.
Yeah.
It was chump change to him. But they knew what's coming.
Yeah.
They're the ones getting ready. So back again, your question was, what can we do to prepare,
Yeah.
right? So what I started doing is started buying silver and gold, right? And I have it in a bank, right? And I just leave it there, or I buy it from a company and they hold it for me.
Okay.
So you don't have to hold it yourself.
Yeah.
I carry like one coin with me, and I like to share it with people. Hey, this is what money looks like.
Did you bring a coin today?
You know what? Actually, I did. So I wanted to share. So, here's Buffalo Gold, right? I bought this at $1,800.
Yep.
1,800. Right now, it's at 3,500.
Oh.
So why this goes down, this
that
goes up.
Right.
So I could go cash it,
Yeah.
but what I'm getting back, still depreciating,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
So there's that's something that's gonna retain its value for the rest of your life, right?
Exactly. So what am I going to do with this? Once because remember, it starts with the goal.
Yep.
And I have my goal. Once it reaches an amount that I know, I'm going to collateralize it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to let the banks borrow it. And why do you think these laws are being passed right now and pending? Because we're going to go back to somewhere where they're going to be able to hold it. So I'll say to the bank, hey, give me the value of this. There's a guy named Jim Rickards. He used to work for the Obama, and he's a very smart guy, very known in the financial industry. He said just to offset kind of the balance of our debt, just to kind of be somewhat okay, it has to be between $25,000 and $30,000 per ounce.
Oh. Yep.
Okay, and I bought it at 18,
Okay.
and I was at 35, and I think by next year, if everything, it's going to be probably $5,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
So you said as a tool, right? What do we do with it? So, before this video, we got to say that we're not financial advisors.
Yeah.
We got to say that we're not
Yeah.
financial
Do your own
advisors.
research as well. This
Yeah.
is just hopefully a guidance for you to kind of wake up, right?
Exactly.
You're making this, and what are we doing with it? We're buying, designer clothes. We're buying our dream car, right?
Right.
And we're making $100,000 a year, and we end up with nothing, right? And we're paying all this taxes, and we're not financially educated because we're just worrying about this.
Exactly.
Right?
And we're chasing what? Nothing that has value.
Exactly.
We go back again. Store of value is very important. So this has been store of value forever. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to collateralize it, borrow, and then I'm going to take that and get into maybe buying property, buying land.
Yeah.
Building.
Land is a
units.
huge one, right?
Land is always going to be, it holds its value.
Exactly.
That land is always going to hold value. So and then
And
you
let's
could,
not even talk about how, like, people that have bought in houses 10, 20 years ago, the equity that they built.
yeah,
Right.
And once again, you say it, but what did they do with that equity? Hopefully, they invested something with a store of
And
value.
maybe get ananother property or buy something, right?
That's going to hold their value.
Exactly.
So that's a tool. All he does is just cycling back, cycling back, and try to, people say about taxes, right? Well, debt, you don't get tax on debt. And that's what the rich do.
Yeah.
They don't get tax on debt. They use more debt, and they buy more things, and then they use whatever profit, and they buy a jet or cars, whatever they
Yeah.
want. And then
With
the
their
rest,
profit, right?
Yeah, with
Not
their
with not with the actual, what's it called? What would you say here?
well, your loans, like let's say you have $1 million, right? At $1 million, I'm going to collateralize this. Okay, let's say I'm going to use it collateralize. Okay, I'm going to say this is worth $1 million. So I'm going to go to the bank. They're going to let me borrow 75%. So let's say 700,000. So I'll go buy a property for 500,000. I'm left off with
With the
200,000.
rest. Yeah,
And I could go maybe buy something with that. But guess what? That tenant or that place or that property, they're going to be paying off that.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And I'll do you cycle it. But I never sold.
Yep.
And this will keep growing, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So I can get
Exactly.
taxed on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get taxed on the house, property tax and all that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But to get whole tax of $1 million,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a goal. And here's an ounce of silver, American
An ounce
Eagle.
of silver. Yep. Beautiful.
You know,
Close up so you guys can get an idea of what this. So these are assets right here.
Yeah,
These are going to be
exactly.
something that's going to hold its value, right? Versus this. This is just a piece of paper. If I rip it up into 8 pieces, it's probably worthless. This, if we break it up, it's still going to be silver, right?
It's still silver, yeah. And you could burn it down and melt it and use it in whatever.
Get a little bar out of it or whatever, right?
Yeah,
See a
you
lot
can.
of people do that with gold or with silver.
Yeah.
And I know you brought a bar today that if we were to do all this, you can see something like that.
Yeah. So when I show you, so here's and it's in Australian, it's 4 nines. The 4 nines and 3 nines is different. You guys got to do your research, but pretty much it becomes a medical use. It's antibacterial, helps with antibacterial. So 4 nines is much better, more valuable. This is Australian Kogabura, really nice on that one. And
what do you mean by that antibacterial? What does that mean?
So it means like in the medical field, right? You need to clean utensils
Sterilize,
and stuff like that, right? I think there's
This
something
is the type of
metal that
metal
will
that they use.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's why
It's always nice to
your
have something
your
like that.
surgeon tools are very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Because
they're made with this type of stuff.
they have silver.
Dang.
And before I go on, they said about right now. Okay, so that one right now is probably running about $42, $43. I bought it when it was $25.
So you've already doubled your money.
Yeah, but there, my people might ask, well, I'm holding it and I'm not seeing going up, and I'm not seeing, my gains. But they gotta understand that it's manipulated for so long, okay? And when people come, it's like, I need it now. I need it now. I need to make profit now. Like,
Yeah.
And people are not patient. Warren Buffett said that. He said the reason why he doesn't help a lot of people or doesn't try to, educate too much people is because they're not patient. People want to see profits now. The reason I run into it, and now I understand we're in that time of line we're in that transition of the currency.
Yeah.
That's why pretty soon we're going to able to see massive gains.
Yeah. And I think it's important to say that when you're investing in gold and silver, don't think of it as a get rich overnight.
Yep.
This is a marathon, right? You're thinking of your retirement, right? So for you to get to that freedom that you're trying to achieve, right? If that's financial freedom, these are going to be your investments that are going to help you get there. It's not going to get you there overnight, right?
Exactly. Great point.
It's important
Great
to tell
point.
people that's a marathon. How do you train for a marathon, right? You go on little runs, little by little. You start buying a little bit more,
And that's called DCA, dollar cost average.
Right.
So let's say, like you said, well, what do we do with it? Okay, so you plan, okay, for the month, I got this for my bills, and then this. So instead of go buying, you said, that fancy stuff or that nice, expensive car, drive an okay car for now, and invest that monthly payment that you can make $500 or $1,000 now that the cars are like $1,000.
Yeah.
For a car loan, right? I mean,
Right.
the payment, the car payment.
Yeah. Live under your means is a good saying, and don't keep up with the Jones, right?
There you go. There you go.
That'll keep you in the rat race that we don't want to be a part of.
Yeah. No, that's very true. So so like you said, we just take some of that and then you invest a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
like a little race, and eventually you're going to accumulate. Unfortunately, now time is kind of closing. The way things are going. It's coming up. So people don't have a lot of money to just drop. Overnight.
Exactly.
I've been doing this for
With
6
everything getting
years.
so expensive, yeah.
So I've been doing that. So and then here's another one. This is a Valkyrie, right? So these are like you can break them into
That
little
one was
bars.
interesting when I saw it right now.
So this is
A Valkyrie. Ooh.
coin bar. Yeah.
So these are basically a bunch of little
Grams.
grams. Okay.
Grams. So I think.
Oh, so grams. Okay, so
Yeah.
each one is a gram.
Yeah, each one is a gram, and I think there's 50 of them. So it's about they call them troys, right? So 29 troys is about an ounce. So pretty much this is like an ounce, almost 2 ounces,
Yeah.
because 60 ounces, 60 grams would be 2 ounces.
Yeah.
So here's a gram like and a half. So somewhat, just to make it simple math,
Yeah.
right? And then this one, I love this one right here. It's the
I saw that one. I was
you know,
like,
they
whoa,
could break that.
whoa.
So here's 50 grams. So 29 grams,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's about an ounce.
Yeah.
So here's 50 grams. So you do the math. Another 10 grams will be another ounce.
Yeah.
And they have barcodes. So these are 4 nines instead of a 3 9.
Yeah.
You know.
And then if someone were to want to start, maybe I got a little bit of cash in my savings that's just not even maybe like getting your return of investment, right? You just have a savings that's giving you 0.1 per 1% of your money back a year, right? Where could I buy something like this?
Well, there's a lot of websites. I use one called
Battalion.
Battalion. They're great. They've been great. They
And these ship straight to your door.
And they have to get a signature. They just don't drop it off.
Okay.
And if something happens where you didn't get it,
You're insured.
you're insured.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So, you're much
so it's pretty reliable.
yeah, it's pretty bad. I've been been in business. Well, I've been doing. This is not a what do you call that? Advertising the company.
Yeah, of
That's
course not.
that's what I do. And I found this company through this guy named Mike Adams.
Mike Adams?
He's on Brighteon. He's a health ranger. He's very like everything organic, and he's very very smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also have this one right here. There's 20 ounces of American Eagle. So they come like this, shipped.
So
So there's 20 ounces. Comes
I saw it sealed and everything.
Yeah, United
still.
States bullions.
Yeah.
So another one is topic. You want to get bullions.
Mm-hmm.
Bullions, it's minted United States seal. So that means that it's United States approval, right? They have a seal on it, authenticity, right? Rounds are something where if I was to go to a mine and dig up silver and then I make my own coin, it's considered like a round. It's like independent.
Yeah, so these are verified right here.
Yeah, exactly. This is another way of verified.
So I see this coin right here has that. Is this
Yeah.
a similar one to this one?
Exactly. That would be similar to that.
Yeah.
So
United States of America. Right?
yeah, so all mine are pretty much verified, United States verified.
So the day that it comes, the U.S. is gonna love this coin. Like, whoa, we made this here. Let us borrow it. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. And remember, I think Trump said about, let's go audit, Fort Knox, right?
Right.
They wanted to do that. Well, it's been taking a while because they're shipping all the gold from Europe back to here. So they didn't really have the gold. That's the Warner Street. I don't know. I'm just doing the research. But if you were to audit something, right, you would go, hey, next week we're going to go there. But they're taking a long time to audit, right?
Yeah.
So, and with that being in mind, they're just getting ready to what's coming, because the banks are transitioning. Everybody's trying.
Right.
Before I forget, I do what the banks do, and you're like, what banks? The world banks, the BIS, the IMF. These are international banks, the ones that hold all the money, moving money around.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing? They're buying gold and silver at a higher rate than never before in history. Why? They're trading in their bonds. Stuff that has no value,
Yeah.
and they're picking up value. Russia's doing it. I don't know if you heard the BRICS. They're doing.
Alrighty, so now that we know a little bit about different ways to invest your money and create real assets, right? Because financial freedom, if that is your goal, how are we going to start getting there? How do we rewire our brain to prepare for this new world, right? This world where when we're 30, 40, we're going to be able to have that freedom, right, that we're looking into. So it starts with what are our goals, right? And what are we going to start doing to prepare ourselves?
Yeah, and especially like you said, prepare yourself. Especially you guys are younger generation, right?
We have time right now.
You guys have time.
We have time, and that's gold right there itself. Having time. Use it wisely, right? I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you're young. Go party. Go do whatever you want." But is that what we're really, truly supposed to be doing? Or are we getting brainwashed to think this way, right? What is truly happening behind closed doors? Why is there so many distractions going on right now? It's interesting.
No, you're right, especially because I look back at, at my time, I wasted a lot of time. I'm 43, I'll be 44 next year. So I feel like I have to work double, harder, So when I get these, these young ones, in my chair, or young people, teenagers, I tell them, what's your goal? What do you want out of life? And
Yeah.
nobody knows. Nobody knows what they want. Or sometimes they're like, oh, I'm just going to do this. You know?
So we have to sit down with ourselves, look in the mirror, and realize truly what is it that we want out of life, right? These are the hardest conversations to have. But when you know the goal, now it's just starting a plan, right?
Right.
And executing it.
Right.
But it's the $1 million question. What is going to be your goal out of life? And how am I going to get there? And
There
how
you
can I
go.
get there the fastest? But you also got to remember, when you get to the finish line, are you going to be prepared? Are you going to have those habits? Are you disciplined enough? Are you motivated? And motivation isn't going to be every day, I'm ready to go to work. I'm going to invest this week. Your discipline is what's going to keep you there, right?
No, you're right. Consistency. You have to
Consistency.
be disciplined, you know?
I think that's your habits are going to be, you know, when your friends want to go out to party and you know that those $100 are going to go to a silver coin or whatever it is,
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
That discipline, knowing that you're going to be consistent, right? Your health, those are all things that in my eyes, your health, time, right? Family, those are all things that are worth more than this little 20, you know, we can go on and on.
No, you're right. You know, and as a barbers, you know, what can we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do in our industry? You know, we make, we get paid every day.
Yeah.
You know, so what can we do? Well, quick little story. As a barber, I have a client that pays me.
And I've seen it. It's Jared, right?
Yeah.
Jared. I see Jared come in with, and Will just smiles every time, you know, because
Yeah.
you know what that's going to be worth.
You know, and I see so many barbers out there educating other barbers and everything about financial, what we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something. After we learn what money is and the depreciation of currency, right? So let's take us barbers. You know, if you're a barber that makes $50 per,
Right.
per haircut, reality, you're not making $50 with inflation, bills, and so forth, right? You know how much you're really making? Each dollar is only valued at 3 cents. 3 cents. So let's put it in math. Take 0.3 times 50 equals $15. So I'm only making $15 a haircut. I'm not making 50, even though the paper says 50.
Yeah.
In reality, I'm only making $15.
Right.
But then we got booth rent, and then we got supplies, right? So how much are we really making?
Right.
You know, so these barbers that make $100, per cut, they're only making $30.
Yeah.
You know, so when clients or people in general say, like, "Oh, you guys charge expensive," but see, that's the mentality, is that they don't understand the value. You know, they think that it's 100, it's 100. It's not. It's depreciating. It has no value.
Yeah.
It's only 3 cents. So this is where, out of $1, you're only making 3 cents. Every dollar, you're only making 3 cents. What can we buy with that? Not much.
Yeah.
A can of tomato costs more.
Yeah.
$4.
Yeah.
So in reality, it's like we're not making what we say that we.
But when you say 3 cents, right? Are you saying that's what this actual paper is worth, or what would you say?
The value of this.
The value.
So if you take 4 quarters, out of the 4 quarters, right? You say, "Oh, I got 4 quarters." No, the value of those 4 quarters is only 3 cents.
Oh, okay.
So it's 3 cents. So every dollar that you're only making, Eric, if you charge $50 per cut, you take every dollar to make the 50, and it's only 3 cents.
Yep.
So it equals total $15.
Yeah.
3 cents.
Yeah.
So it's not much.
Exactly.
3 cents, it's chump change. I mean, this is what you consider value of your time,
Of course not. Yeah.
So do we value ourselves? That's the question, But if we can't even value ourselves, then how can we see value in other things?
Exactly.
And that's where it starts. So yeah, as a barber, I would start, like my client, he's paid me at least minimum 40 of these, at least. When it gets revalued, right? The new price, because it's been suppressed, manipulated, and I know how to recharge. I did a little bit of trading.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're seeing gold, silver rising where it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? It's gonna be about 1,000 to 1,500. So I already got 40 of these. That's $40,000 in currency.
Just by one haircut, right?
Just by just cutting
Or
on one
those
client.
40 haircuts,
Yeah,
right?
those 40 haircuts.
Exactly.
So I turn in, 40 of these, well, 40,000. But in reality, how much would it cost me to buy 40 ounces? About $800, $900 back then. Now it's about, I think, $1,200.
Yep.
$1,200 for 20.
Okay.
So you see, so you could turn in $1,200.
Yeah.
Take that savings, or $1,000, and buy silver. Those $1,000 are going to turn into $30,000 to $40,000.
Exactly.
Now you have profit.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I want to see this chart, where do you see this chart?
Oh, so you could.
I know you showed it to me before,
Yeah.
but if I want to look this up.
Yeah. So there's a website that's called the U.S. Debt Clock.
The U.S. Debt Clock. Okay.
Yeah. .org. It's pretty much tells you the financial statements and balances of the United States, the country's debt.
Yep.
It has Medicare, Social Security, the military, and it has everything there, right? And right there, you go in there, you'll click a window, and it says like the whole history of money and everything.
Yeah.
And it shows you graphs. Or you could go up to the, believe the .gov White House.
.gov White House.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the White House, and then go into, no, it's called the Fred. It's called the Fred, right? And then it tells you the whole balance as well, and depreciation and the value too.
Yeah.
It's called the Fred. There's, I'll try to give you some links so they could go on there and then click on it, and it'll show them like the whole graph and everything.
Yeah.
But it's right there. You go to United States,
Yeah, so there's things that we're talking about today aren't just made up things, right? This is all stuff that's out there, information's out there. But I think for barbers, I think the biggest thing is for sure getting interested in it. Now that you watch this video, boom, that little light bulb turned on. Start, right?
Start investing.
Start investing. And little by little. It doesn't have to, don't think that you gotta go drop $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 today. A coin, like how you're saying, they're worth almost $40, $50. It's not too bad. I know you can save $50, $40 to get a couple, a week, one a week. Maybe you see a little bit more value, you start getting 2 a week or something, right?
Right, and like I said, one will turn into $1,000.
Exactly.
$40 will turn, or $50 will turn into $1,000.
Yeah.
So as you're seeing these profits, your goal, right, whatever your goal is, if it's to open a barber shop, right, or to buy a home for your family, right, as barbers. Well, let's say if you buy a car that's worth $40,000, right, and you bought silver for $1,200, 40 of them. Well, that car that was worth $40,000, it only cost you $1,200.
Exactly.
Because you invested in silver, which you made $40,000.
Yeah.
You see? And think about it big. So when people go buy homes that are $1 million, they're only worth $300,000.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not $1 million home. It's because the inflation, right? It just makes the homes rises, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about it, if you were to invest in that and hold, that house is going to cost you probably like $50,000.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
So it's about investing. But I'm throwing out numbers right now. But but when you start sitting down and calculating in the future,
Yeah.
But I believe with the next 10 years, man,
it's gonna start happening.
It's gonna start happening for sure. And we're seeing the road starting to play out.
It's paving itself.
Exactly.
Right.
What these new laws. And before we go, with crypto as well. I've been investing in crypto as well. But the right cryptos, people out there are fighting and everything. But you gotta look. You can't think price. You gotta think utility. What is it going to be used for?
Right.
Right. I've done so much into crypto, and I've shown you my portfolio. It's gone up. But I've been investing for 5 years. So when the old money goes away, the old currency, there has to be something new to replace it.
Right.
So all these institutions,
and we're seeing it already, right?
Right. They're getting their money, the old money, where it's depreciating, and they're transferring it into the new currency. The new digital, the new cryptocurrencies.
Right.
That's why they call it cryptocurrencies, crypto assets.
Yep.
Because they could, let's say Amazon, right? Whatever billions of dollars they have, well, it's losing value, right? So they got to transfer that value somewhere else.
Exactly.
Which is the new money being created right now. It's called the cryptocurrencies, crypto assets.
Yep.
Right. And then now these are going to be backed or pegged, or I don't know. That's still a debate, but gold and silver will be part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be another thing, but it's a lot of information.
It is.
This is just the very first, the intro to it, right? We can dig deeper into it, but I kind of wanted to just kind of turn that light switch, the light bulb on for people start thinking and start educating ourselves a lot more when it comes to financial education, because it's extremely, extremely important, right?
No, it is, Eric, and that's why I took my time. This is the first, I always talk about it and everything, but to sit down and really have a conversation deep and all this stuff.
I learned so much today, and I'm gonna get on it too, right? So just like how you guys are watching it, this is all new to me. So I told them today when I was getting them on the podcast, hey, I'm gonna be a student. This is a lot of stuff that we've had conversation about,
right?
But sitting down and actually talking about this, it's mind blowing. It's awakening, and it's something that we have to do, right? Because we don't want to get left in that rat race of we're gonna get stuck in the lower class.
Right.
Right.
And like you're saying, what kind of surprised me, we have, Miguel the barber here, right? Mm-hmm. His son, when his son started talking about silver, it's gonna go up. How does the 10-year-old understand that it's gonna go up? He might not know the fundamentals of everything, but he knows something's value there.
Yeah.
Right. The little light bulb, TikTok, whatever he's watching, obviously
it's already getting talked about.
Exactly. So they're getting the education already in the beginning. So they're being instructed and guided in that direction.
And if they start right now, it's gonna be mind blowing what a 10-year-old could do with this future, right?
Exactly.
If you were to start learning from right now.
And I have my son. He's talking about Pokemon cards, right? Mm-hmm. Even Pokemon cards are being store value. Oh yeah, that's another thing. What the wealthy do, they don't hold their money in the banks. They buy like paintings. Mm-hmm. They buy expensive cars. They hold their value in something. They transfer.
That's another thing that I've been seeing. We just had a car week here a couple months ago, and you see these multi-billionaires coming over here and buying $40 million cars. $10 million cars. These are like one of one. So they don't see this value in this $40 million sitting in the bank, right? Mm-mm. This $40 million car could be worth $50 million one day, right?
Exactly. So they keep the store of value like we learned.
Because it's something physical, right?
Exactly.
Versus this, you can just stack piles of money. And what is it backed up by? Nothing. Honestly, nothing. Our military, maybe?
No, well, they say it's the government.
The government. And the government's telling us, hey guys, this right here is worth $20, and we just have to accept it.
Yeah, exactly. So we, the people, we speak up. When we start buying this, and this is when we start telling the government, we're onto it,
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about, political. I'm not into political and all that stuff, but it's just kind of giving you an understanding about how the system works, you know? So those are just fundamentals, what gives it the value, and you said it is the, they say this is it. And then from 1970, right, when we went off the gold standard, right, then it went to the petrodollar. Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia had a contract, hey, nobody could buy oil without dollars. Well, that contract, I think, ended like 2 years ago. So now...
And we're already seeing changes.
And we're seeing this
with the whole world, right?
Exactly.
So it's important to start, don't be blind to these things. Educate ourselves. Like how you're saying, do it on your way to work. Do it on the way home. Do it while you're getting ready, drinking your coffee, eating breakfast. Yeah. Something. You can find time. There's time out there. So let's start doing that. But we can go on and on and on. Let's kind of close this video out. I appreciate Will the Thrill coming over here and sharing his brain. 5 years of learning. We appreciate you, Will. Thank you for coming, on the podcast. This is just the first segment. Hopefully we can convince him to come back. If you like this video, leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Subscribe to Erik the Barber's YouTube account. One more time, thank you, Will. Anything you want to say?
No, I'm just here to share what I've learned, and I just want to help that one kid that was me at one time.
Exactly.
To get the opportunity,
Yeah.
We might not be able to change everybody,